everyone, and welcome to a video on the Constructor Criticism YouTube channel. I'm Spencer, host of Constructor Criticism and Limited Time Only, two podcasts about getting better at Magic the Gathering, as well as the producer of Common Knowledge, a pauper podcast about getting better at Magic the Gathering. Just so much stuff going on this YouTube channel now. I'm so excited about it. Don't forget to check out all that stuff. But today is our Deck Tech Day. Today we get to talk about decks, and I'm really excited to share some adjustments and the deck that it's probably one of the better decks coming out of our Pro Tour testing, going into Pro Tour Hour of Devastation, and that I currently am working on to try and play at both at the RPTQ and at GP Denver. So that deck is Green-Black Delirium, or Green-Black Snake. It is a snake deck, and I kind of want to talk about why I love this deck so much, and where I think this deck stands today, and why it did well at the Pro Tour, and why it did well on Magic Online, and what its weaknesses are. So let's go over the list first, and then we can talk about the deck. So we have 4 Grim Flayer, 2 Kalitas Traitor of Ghet, 2 Rishkar Peema Renegade, 2 Tireless Tracker, 2 Verdurous Gearhulk, 4 Walking Ballista, and 4 Winding Constrictor. You notice that there's a lot of 2-ofs in this list. The reason for that is actually because this is a Delirium list, so I get to play Traverse the Ulvenwald, which means that I don't have to max out on creature effects that I want, and I can play a little bit fewer of them. If you look at the list that did well at the Pro Tour, he even had less Rishkar. He had 1 Rishkar. He did play the 3rd Tireless Tracker, which is something that I had a little while ago that was recently cut, but overall the deck gets to play less of even some of its more powerful creatures like Tireless Tracker and Verdurous Gearhulk, because it plays things like Traverse the Ulvenwald. Its current instance are 2 Dissenter's Deliverance, 4 Fatal Push, 2 Grasp of Darkness, 2 Never Return, and 4 Traverse the Ulvenwald as its sorceries. These spells are currently where I'm at. I mean, I've seen lists play Murder, I've seen things like that. I think Grasp of Darkness is really important in this meta, though. I had 1 Grasp not that long ago, but the thing is that with how important Hazard is, I actually think you want the full 4 Grasp of Darkness somewhere in your 75. Dissenter's Deliverance is one that I have had as a 1-of for a long time. I actually had a Blossoming Defense, but after last night's testing, I just wanted to be able to make sure that I hit my land drops a little bit more consistent, and Druid's Deliverance helps with that a little bit. Our Planeswalker package is 2 Liliana the Last Hope and 2 Nissa Voice of Zendikar. I think Liliana the Last Hope is really well positioned right now. It's good against mono red. It's good against everything. It's good against zombies. It's good in the mirror. Nissa is really important in the mirror match. It actually lets you really break through in a board stall. So I think that Nissa is one that I wouldn't be cutting. I know that there are some non-Delirium versions of this deck floating around, and also non-energy versions but I think this is a really, really important part. Our lands, we have 4 Blooming Marsh, 3 Evolving Wilds, 6 Forests, 4 Hissing Quagmire, and 5 Swamps. This is 22 lands. I know that some of the energy lists play 21, and some of the Delirium decks play 23. With the, between Traverse, and Dissenter's Deliverance, I'm pretty happy with 22. I don't find myself getting mana screwed very often, and this deck also has a really good time of not flooding because of things like Traverse the Ulvenwald, and some of and Liliana and things like that. But I do think that you don't want to be playing less than 22, and I could see even going up to that 23 that some of those lists are playing in those Traverse decks. Our sideboard is 1 Ishkanah. This card's a little bit interesting. I actually don't know how good Ishkanah is right now. It can be very good. I think it's important to have in your sideboard to be able to stall the ground against flyers, against different types of decks. But it's not as good because the format's a little bit fast. And it's kind of weird to say that the format's fast for Ishkanah because it lets you slow down the game. But there are games where if you're on the draw, you might not actually get Delirium fast enough to be able to make this Ishkanah do what you want it to do. We have the 3rd Kalitas in the sideboard, 2 Manglehorn, the 3rd Tireless Tracker, the last 2 Grasp of Darkness, 2 Ob Nixilis Reignited, 1 Never Return, 2 Transgress the Mind, and 2 Yahenni's Expertise. Yahenni's Expertise is really important. One of the problems that this deck has is actually with the Zombies variants. So being able to wipe their board in a meaningful way, I think is really, really important. You could almost consider playing Bontu's Last Reckoning, and that card's really bad. I think Yahenni's expertise is a little bit better. It allows you a little bit more flexibility, being able to play a Liliana off of it to take care of maybe one of the lords that's keeping their guys too big, then shrinking down the rest of their guys to kill them all. Overall, I just think the card's really important in the sideboard and in one of your most important matchups. I think if you're a green-black player and you don't admit that your matchup against zombies isn't your favorite, you're kind of lying to yourself, and I think that Yahenni's expertise does a lot to help that. And you can really transform into a control deck against that deck, trying to beat them in a little bit different of a way, which I think is really, really important. Between playing more removal spells like Never Return and Grasp of Darkness, Kalitas to help you gain life and also stop their recursion, things like that. I just think that you have to build your deck this way in order to beat zombies, and also a lot of the cards help you in other matchups. Whether it's the mirror match with Kalitas or against Mono Red with Kalitas, I just think that I want a diverse sideboard that helps me in multiple matchups with lots of my cards, not singled out cards that are only good in one matchup. I think that this deck is a 50 deck, and you want to increase your percentages by small amounts after board, and then target the decks that are really hard for you, like zombies. Overall, I've been really happy with this deck. It's one that I want a PPTQ with, and I hope to transfer that PPTQ win into an RPTQ win and get to the Pro Tour. I love this deck. I think that, going into the Pro Tour, Michael asked me what I would play, and I told him that this is the deck that I would play. I think that I want to be good against Mono Red. I want to find a way to beat zombies, and I want to not worry about some of its bad matchups. Things like ramp and control that you have a little bit of a harder time with if they're playing something like Fumigate. I don't think are going to show up anytime soon, and because of that, this deck is really well positioned and something that I would be happy to take to a tournament. If you have any questions, please leave a comment down below. Don't forget to leave this video a like and hit that subscribe button. If you love our content, you can check out patreon.com/ccmtg to become a patron of the show. Every single dollar is really appreciated. It means the world to us when we get those notifications. We're getting closer and closer to being able to do more and more awesome stuff, get people to GPs, make sure that the content keeps improving, and we think that that's key. Having 2 Silver Pros like Michael and Danny is really helpful, and getting everybody the Magic experience that they need to give you the best content that we can. The better we get at Magic and the more we get to play, the better. But also, recently we were able to update audio equipment, things like that, all through the Patreon, so everything like that is really appreciated. Don't forget to check out the podcasts, and if you have any questions about this deck, please leave a comment. I'd love to discuss it, and I look forward to playing this and seeing what we can do. I'm going to probably be streaming a little bit with this deck, so don't forget to check out twitch.tv/ccmtg to see some of that, and we'll see you guys all next week for another deck tech.